Okay, this is going to be part 2 of ESS version 3. I'm going to go over some of the configs in there. I think this is where people have problems. So, back here there's a config documentation link, or if you're still on here in the actual GitHub, you can just click here. Okay, so really what I need is this. This is an array of stuff that goes into a class. So there are public classes that everybody can see, and there are private that is filtered by UIDs, and the public ones are on the mission side, the private ones are on the server side. So let's do a public class. So open up MP missions, extract your PBO. Remember, this is a working PBO. Let's back it up. Go into this spawn folder and go into config.sqf. So we're going to be working in this section here essentially. Below that, there's some other stuff you could configure. If you do the halo jump, you can configure the plane. The other class names that have been tested are here. If you want to disable the plane and just fall from the sky, you can get rid of this. No plane will, you won't be in the plane and just jump out of it. So for testing purposes, let's just do that. You can turn it off if you want, actually. The spawn selection. This is the body check. You can change this. This is 4,000 meters. You can change that if you want. Set it to -1 to disable it. Just read the comments here. It's pretty. This stuff is self-explanatory. You can allow players to spawn near their plot pole. I have a plot pole on the map, so let's set that to true, just to test it. You can spawn near your group. I mean, there's just so many stuff. There's so much stuff you can configure. These are the actual spawn points. Also can be configured. Obviously, Shinar's has a shitload. People have probably submitted those. But if you want to make your own, you can do that. You've got the name of the town. All right, this uses the string table. It converts to different languages. Let's see. The actual string table that those are in the Epoch client files. But it is string table XML. You can see what that does. But if it doesn't have that, like some of these aren't in there, then you just name your own town, X, Y, and Z coordinates. You can get those out of your world, like log out there, or if you have admin tools or the Infostar admin debug, you can get that. These other two are just 00. I'm guessing that's direction and something else. I don't remember what this last one is. I'm pretty sure that's direction and that's something else. 0 just means facing north. Okay. So if you want to add your own spawn points, you can do that here. Change them up how you want. I'm not going to do those. That's pretty self-explanatory. Plus it takes a long time to demo it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a custom class just to show you how to do that. And this is public so everybody can see them. So where I'm going to get my class names and stuff is out of the Epoch client files. So go into your server, DayZ Epoch, add-ons. It's going to be this DayZ code PBO. You just right click and extract it to a folder. On my test server, I just leave it extracted because I go back there all the time. So we're in here, and these class names, mostly you'll find them in the trader files and the loot tables. So go into configs, config server trader or config loot. We'll do traders first. Go to category, and you have all these different categories of stuff that's sold at the traders. So you can see that these are all the bandit ones. These are all hero, and they're filtered by humanity levels, right? So bandit level 3 has to have negative 15,000, and hero level 3 has to have 15,000, positive 15,000. Another thing you'll notice up here, you have a defined array of stuff that's tied to this variable, and you can see it's calling it here. Each one of these has these start items in it. Every class has these basic start items, and you can make your own, or you can flesh this one out. For this demo, I'm going to make my own. Okay, so let's go ahead and define our start items that go in your magazine and item slots. Make sure you differentiate that too, because when your gear is organized on your player, you have weapon slots, you have primary weapon slots, you have secondary weapon slots, one, I guess one of each. You have the on back, and that's defined in here. You can see, you can crawl across here. This is the name, male skin, female skin, magazines and items, weapons and tools. Right? This is the backpack, or bag it's called here. Stuff that goes in the backpack, mags and items, weapons and tools. Those are empty arrays because there's nothing in there. VIP level, you can see it says 0, which means everybody can see it. I mean, everybody, there's no restriction. That's defined on the server side. I'll show you that later. There's humanity level. That's where these filters are. You can see the survivor class just has 0. Anybody can spawn in as that. Another option that I've never seen anybody use, I don't know why you would, but it is an option. Everything is configurable in here. It's coins. You can put, if you have ESSv3 installed, you can put coins on your character. Just change this 0 to something. And you have what's called on back. That's the second primary. And melee hatchet, but there's other melee stuff. You have to differentiate between, if I go to item, friendly tool belt items, where's hatchet? You see how it says item hatchet here? That goes on your tool belt. When it goes on in your primary slot, and you're going to use it as a weapon or cut trees, it changes the class name to melee hatchet. And that goes the same for fishing rods, the machete, the crowbar. I'm assuming the pickaxe and the sledge, right? When it comes out of your tool belt and goes onto your back or into your primary slot, it changes the class name. But you can see we have a list of items here. And we have other lists of items in the traders we can put in our class. So let's define our own start items. You could change the one that's there. In fact, I think most people just would. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to build my own. So I'm just going to kind of copy this. So pound, define, space, hit caps lock, I guess here. And I'm going to call this custom items. Space. Okay, now we can add our items to this. Make sure they're magazine slot items, or the ones that go on the chest rig stuff, like the pistol magazines, the bandages, and like the antibacterial wipes. So let's start with bandages. You notice that this has no number behind it. That assumes one road flare. So if you wanted 2 road flares, you'd do that. But I'm going to give myself 2 bandages, right? Painkiller. I actually want a boiled water bottle because you don't get infections from that. There's a chance you'll get infected from regular water. So here's how you find that. Back up to the root of the DayZ code folder and go to actions, boil.sqf. Okay, this is where when you boil water, it converts it from a regular water bottle, let me maximize, to a boiled water bottle. And these different ounce things are for when you do that smelting. When you go to one of those, you go to a fire and you can smelt the ore from the mining. It uses an ounce of water every time you do that. But I want a full bottle of boiled water. So I'm going to use this class right here. Item, water, bottle, boiled. Copy it quote to quote. Close that. Make sure you have commas in between all this shit. And also don't have any spaces in there. This class name, if it's, this here, you see that this has a space there. That's just a name. That's intentional. That space is intentional. It puts a space between level 1 and the word bandit. But for a class name, make sure there's no spaces, because that will give you errors. Like config magazine errors. If you see that shit, you probably did that. So make sure no spaces in there, right? And commas after all of them, except for the last one. So we have item water boiled in there. And instead of pistachios, I'm going to give myself some kind of cooked meat. So go back into configs. Go to config server trader. Where is it? Yeah. Category. Friendly cooked meats. And let's just say cooked rabbit. Grab that. Copy that. And we're right here. So double quote, paste that in there, double quote, comma. We're putting something behind there. Check your formatting, no spaces in between there. Okay, so we got 2 bandages, painkiller, boiled water bottle, cooked meat. Maybe we could add some other medical stuff. So friendly medical supplies. We could add a antibacterial wipe. you know, to clean your wounds. Close that. So double quote, paste, double quote. Make sure there's no spaces in there. Okay. What else we want? We could have antibiotics if you want. A blood bag. A lot of people like blood bag. If you're using that new vanilla style blood bag system, then these are the different blood bag types. And you'd want to give them the universal one, which is blood bag O negative. But since I'm using the regular classic blood bag system, I'm going to use item blood bag right there. Comma, whoop, comma, double quote, paste, double quote. I'm going to put a comma there too, because I'm going to add more shit. What else you want? Just for demonstration, we could add all kinds of shit, but we'll go morphine so you can fix broken legs, right? So double quote, paste, double quote. Keep a continuous eye on this formatting. Okay. So I think that's pretty good. Use your own judgment, of course. These are the default ones that are in these. And let's say you don't want... You only want one class of bandit, one class of hero. Just comment those other ones out. Just be mindful of that last one needs a comma. So this is now the last one that's active. When you comment these out, the server disregards these whole lines. So this is the second to last, or actually last one doesn't have a comma, second to last one has a comma. Just be mindful of that. So you can do that. Have one bandit, one hero. And you can, instead of these start items, you could give it these custom items. You just copy that over. Okay. So what else? Maybe we want some starting tool belt items. Right? Or you could go start. You can do this. If you swap these out for your custom ones, you could comment that out. But since those are still in there, you need those. Yeah, let's just go custom tools. Fuck it. So, let's go into friendly tool belt items. Let's give our character some tools. We want a map. Or you could go with a GPS, doesn't matter. Okay. Watch your no spaces. Comma. We got a map there. Binocular vector, that is the rangefinders, or you could give them regular binoculars. Let's just go with those rangefinder. This is just demo purposes. I can just just showing you what you can do. You don't have to do it like this either. You could put them in, where this array is called, where it says weapons and tools. Weapons and tools. You could paste those individual class names if you want to customize them even further. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just make one list. You could give it night vision goggles. Matchbox. Let's give our characters a matchbox. Okay, what else we want? You could put a hatchet on the tool belt, or you could put the hatchet on back with that melee hatchet. Any of these items you can add to your tool belt, except for chainsaws. Those aren't tool belt items. If you have the script where you can spawn a bike, you can, and usually it requires a toolbox. Let's give the spawn class a toolbox. So how about we just go with that? We've got a map, binoculars, matchbox, toolbox. If you have a night server, either give it road flares or flashlight, right? Item flashlight, or night vision goggles if you want. Depends on how easy mode your server is, I guess. But anyways, we defined that. Starting tools, starting items. Now let's make a spawn class. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put a comma there. That's no longer my last entry. Okay. Now, what I want to do is find a skin that I want to use, right? So let me show you how you find that. Back up to where, when you open up DayZ code and you're going to go into init, variables.sqf. And here you see player models, player classes. This has a list of male skins and female skins that are currently in DayZ Epoch. The female skins are pretty dismal. With the male skins, there's all kinds of cool ones. So you're just going to select a player model out of here, or a player class. All right, we're on line 40. The male skins, classes. And you're just going to pick one. Can you with one of the BAF soldiers, a German soldier? Let's do this one. I don't even know what that looks like. So grab it, quote to quote. Go back into, you can close this one. Go back into config. And remember, this is where you need your documentation for the regular class format. You're just going to follow along here. So this is going to be your name. This is going to be your male skin. Second element, right? This is the first element, second element. I'm going to overwrite this. You could use, now you need a female skin. If you leave it, if you leave it like this, then the game will just choose one, like the default one for you. I think that's probably set in the configs. But if you leave the female skin empty, it'll just grab you the default, spawn in skin, whatever it is. Let's just put one in there though. 41. Here's the female skins. Let's grab. It'll be like this one. And you don't have to grab both quotes. You can grab what's inside here. Right? Grab that class name. Paste that in there. Check your formats. No spaces. Now this here, we're not going to be using stuff that's in the string table. So get rid of this word localize. And you want this array to start with a double quote like that. And then get rid of this. So now we need to name this class, and you can name it yourself. You can either call it German soldier, or you can name it by the loadout. Like let's say I'm going to give this an AK-47 to start. So I'm going to go AK-47 loadout, right? And you could do it that way if you want. If you want to call it German soldier, whatever. But I kind of like this, where you, like, I'm going to give this an AK-47. You could create another class below that. You know, give it an M4 or a DMR or whatever you want to give it. You know, this is just basic shit. So we've named our class. We got the male skin, the female skin. Instead of using the start items that were defined here, I'm going to use my custom items. So I'm going to overwrite this. Okay, don't put this in quotes. It should look just like that. You're calling all of this stuff. So that's a global array. Or not a global array, a variable. Okay. So we are working now in the magazines and items, right? So this survivor class had a Makarov here and the Makarov magazines. Let's say we want to switch that out. So go back into the configs in your DayZ code from the Epoch client files, and back into the trader files category. Let's grab friendly pistols. And you notice here there are no SD pistols because the new vanilla mod attachment system, you buy the base class, which is just the regular M9 or the regular Makarov, and then you buy the attachment for it, you know, which would be this 9mm suppressor, and then you would attach it and make the M9 SD or the Makarov SD. But I want to grab one that's already made, so let me go into the loot table. So config loot, groups, go down to weapons.hpp, and you see pistols. So here's a Makarov SD or an M9 SD. Let's do the M9 SD. Grab that whole class name there, and we're gonna paste it in here. Okay. And we need the magazines for it. I know those are in the trader files, so let's go back to config server trader category, friendly pistol ammo. And here's your M9 SD ammo. So you just grab this whole class name there, copy it, and overwrite this one. And you can see you got 2 magazines here, but you know, you could change it to 3. Just be careful because these go into that chest rig, those chest rig positions. So we've already got 2 bandages, one of these antibacterial wipes, that's 3, and then plus 3 is 6, and we have 8 total. So you have 2 more spots. You could fill them up by changing this to a 4, or, you know, give yourself 2 or 3 of those, whatever. I'll just leave them like this. So I've got my pistol, M9 SD, and the magazines. Now I said I wanted to make this an AK-47 class, so I'm going to add the AK-47 to this weapons. Remember, we're doing this weapons and tools. Okay, so before I forget, since this is the weapons and tools right here, I'm going to add my custom tools here. Just add them out front like this one. You could have them behind, it doesn't matter the position. But just like that. Put that variable name in there, comma, and then put your classes behind it. Let's go find an AK-47. Friendly assault rifles. Where the hell is... Or you could add a scar if you want, you know, whatever. Yeah, here's AKM underscore DZ. I don't know if the loot tables have the other AKs that have like the PSO scopes and the, you know, the attachments and shit like that. You might have to get those class names elsewhere, like, you know, spawn a box with admin tools or something. Or Infostar has the spawner. You can see all the class names. So I'm just going to grab that class name there. Put a comma. Double quote. Okay, so tools and weapons all go in the same section here in this nested array. And we need the magazines for it, right? We got our 8K. We need to put the magazines in the magazines and items section here. Friendly assault rifle ammo. I need the not the 5.45. I need the 7.62 AK-47 ammo. So grab that class name. Put a comma there. Double quote. Paste. Double quote, comma. We'll give ourselves 2 of those magazines. Or you can give yourself 3, doesn't matter. However you want to do this. This is so configurable, there's no way to cover all bases on this. I'm just showing you how you can do it. Make sure you're mindful of spaces in between these quotes for these class names. So, we got our... Now what do we need now? We bag. It says bag. That's a backpack. That's this empty string here. So let's find friendly backpacks. And we could give it any backpack you want. Let's go with the gun bag, the regular gun bag. Grab that class name. Close that. Let me close some of this shit. Too much stuff open here. Okay, paste that in there. Be mindful of there's no spaces in there, right? Because if you have a space in there, the game will count this space as part of that class name and it will throw an error. Okay, so no space. Ah, shit. If you want to put stuff, you see here, you can put stuff like mags and items and also weapons and tools in your backpack. If you want, I'm not going to do that, but if you wanted to, you know, you just do it the same way as this. This is a nested array. This is also a nested array. It's just empty. You just add class names, just like we did here. Okay, so VIP level, that's going to be 0. Humanity level, 0. Coins, 0. If you want to add a hatchet to the backpack, I mean to the on back position, comma, just like that. Or you could do, I think it's melee, I can't remember the exact class name, melee, what's the other thing? Machete? Melee machete. Okay, but this is a basic class right here. Okay, so we made our own class. Fleshed it out. Customized it. Last element in the array does not have a comma. So let's just go ahead and test it then. We made this. We got rid of these bandit classes and hero classes just for demo purposes. Let's save this. Close it. Close that. We no longer need this. Yeah, close them. Close this. Let's go ahead and repack our PBO. So every time you do a change, you should test it. And once it's good, back it up. You know, put it over here. Back it up. So let's test this class and see if it works. Our little changes there. And then I'll show you the private side. That VIP thing just means that it's filtered by player UIDs. If your player UID wasn't on the list, you couldn't use that class. But I guess some servers like to show them all in the list, even though other players can't access them. I don't know why you would do that, but it's an option. Everything is configurable, and this it's really configurable. Okay, so I'm back at the spot I was in the last video, so let me go ahead and kill myself. Okay, so you see now we only have one level of bandit, one level of hero, just like we intended. We commented out the other ones. So I just showed you that because that's an option. You can do that. You can get rid of, you can only have, if you just want one bandit, one hero, just comment them out, right? Or if you don't want to use a class at all, just comment it out. Let's say you don't want to have survivor, just comment it out. Just be wary of those commas. The last one doesn't have a comma. Here's our AK-47 loadout. That's our skin. Let's select that. Okay. Now you see we did do the plot thing. So my plot, I have a test base somewhere around here. So I can actually spawn at my plot. Let's go ahead and select that. And we'll go to Halo. And remember, I got rid of the plane, so I'm just free falling from the sky. There's no plane involved anymore. So again, if you want to do that, cool. Otherwise, leave the plane class in there. It's just configuring, man. Where's my... That's Starry down there. And if you hit ground, I don't know if... Yeah, you'd spawn near your plot, but not on your plot. But there is an option in the private configs where you can spawn, you know, right inside your base. It's a base spawn. So let's open up the gear. You can see there's our AK-47 with 3 mags, cooked meat, boiled water. Right, hatchet on back, backpack. There's our start items, our tool belt items, map, matches, and a toolbox. M9SD with 3 mags, 2 bandages, and that antibacterial wipe, and also a rangefinder. Right, everything is there. And what did I have more than that in there? I don't think I did. I think I just had the 3 items. Pretty sure I did. Okay. And there's the player model we chose, the German, what was it, German something? Okay. So that's how you do custom class, and you can just do as many as you want. Customize that shit at will, doesn't matter, okay? So let me go ahead and log out, and I'll go through some of the private configs. I'll try to keep this video not too long, so I'll just show you how it works. I don't think I'll do any configuring in there. Also, check your, I'm sorry, open this. Every time you do a change, check RPTs. We got nothing there, no errors. Good. Let's check client side. What am I doing? That's not the right one. That one. Yep, same bullshit Arma stuff. Yeah, nothing. Okay, so we didn't make any mistakes. Good. Let's go check out some of these. The private stuff is in the server side, right? So go to the server. Init folder, spawn config.sqf. Okay, now you see these sections here is where you would put your Steam IDs or player IDs. You can see eBay has an example here. This would be an example of a player ID, right? So if I wanted my best buddy to have these VIP spawn classes, right? Scout, Specialist, Sniper, then I would put his Steam ID in there, right? Be careful, no spaces between the quotes and the ID. And you can add as many as you want. You just, like, if you wanted an additional one, right? You could have another one in there. You have as many as you want crawling across here. There's 3 different levels by default of these private classes, right? And then if you wanted a 4th one, you got VIP Scout, Specialist, Sniper. Let's say you wanted a light machine gunner, right? So you put a space or a comma there. Alright, VIP LMG or something like that, right? And then define all this stuff in here just like we did before. Change all these classes out for whatever you want, right? There's VIP items, right? Those are defined here. And you got VIP tools, right? Looks like they're not using them in these classes, but you could. You could, if I wanted to put these VIP tools in here, right? We could do that. This is the weapons and tools section. You could put them in there. That's all there is to that. If you create a 4th class like we did, you'd of course do this. What's up here is down here. So right, level 4, and then you change this. You got class level count. Change that to a 4. Check these comments. Right? So you just add the Steam IDs in there. This is a custom loadout for whoever. If you got admins on your server, give them all a custom loadout. Put their Steam IDs in here. You see this one corresponds to this one. This one corresponds to this one. This one corresponds to that one. Okay? Make sure you're aware of that. Be aware of commas. And you can just use this as a template or use this as a template. Okay? These spawn, now they have spawn at base. That's where I was saying that you could actually spawn if you had a base built somewhere and you wanted to spawn right at your base in a certain coordinate, in an exact coordinate, right? You'd put your Steam ID in there just like that and then call it, your base, and then put your coordinates in there, you'd stand in that spot and either use some admin debug from Infostar, or, you know, I guess Nox's admin tools that I'm using has a get current location. Or you could log out in that spot and get your world coords out of the database. You just need an X, Y, and a Z. And it will spawn you exactly in that spot. And that would show up in the list then. You know, the custom, when you go to the spawn list, it would say this. It would show your base, that exact phrase in there, and then it would spawn you at that location. What is this one now? Oh, I see. This is just another base spawn thing. You could have a VIP spawn. These are only visible to players in their respective spawn level. So these are custom spawns just for the VIP stuff, right? You'd add the UID in here, you know, just like that. Put that in here. And then define a custom spawn that they, like, say you wanted to give them, they could spawn at Hero or some shit, or a certain part of the map. You just define your coordinates in here. And 1 and 2 are, you know, that's just referencing location 1, location 2, right? So that's how you do that. I'm not going to go through all this and log in stuff. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's a lot like we did in the last one. It's just filtered by player UIDs. You put your player UIDs here, define your stuff down here. All right? So play around with it, set it up. If you have problems with it, you know, I'm not going to provide support for this. It's not my mod. So just this is how you do it, and go nuts on it, okay? Don't save. So that's all there is really to configs. Read the documentation that's on there, and set up your own classes just like I did, and you should be alright. Alright, that's it for this video though. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm not sure when that's going to be. I've been kind of busy, but yeah, I'm going to keep making these videos, so we'll see you.